yeah, to start with, so this is a case of a 60-year-old man who had actually come as a referred case that he had undergone a cataract surgery elsewhere. And he came within, I think, around 10 to 20 days post-surgery. So you can see that he's got an iris claw lens, he's got some amount of vitreous hemorrhage, and he's also got a superior iridodialysis which is present. So because it was done within SIC as a superior tunnel, we didn't want to make a new tunnel. So we have made a 23 gauge port 3.5 millimeter away from the limbus. The infusion cannula is checked by the ER surgeon. And after forming the anterior chamber, we use the same superior tunnel which is already made to explant the iris claw. That's the step number one. So we hold the iris claw with a lens holding forceps firmly on the grip. The most difficult thing is actually unclipping the clipped lens. So you will have some amount of bleeding, but gently you would have to massage at the area of where the clip is there. So if you see that slowly you start massaging from the area of the clip lens, you will see that it will come out easily. So there is some amount of bleeding from the base of the iris. So this same procedure is done on the other side as well, where at the place where it is clipped, we are gently massaging the iris and then easily it comes out. So the first step is to explant, and then I actually used the glued IOL marker and made an incision 180 degrees apart. And then we do a partial thickness scleral flaps. So this is just to plan for the lens which I'm planning on later. So after we plan this on either sides, we used a sclerotomy of 20 gauge, which is around 1.5 millimeter away from the limbus to explant the haptics. And then I left it over to the retina surgeon who actually had to go in and clear the vitreous hemorrhage. So while doing vitrectomy, you could actually see that there was a lot of blood which had actually got stuck to the base. So there was a difficulty in doing vitrectomy. So he actually had to induce a PVD over there. You can see that just using the suction, the PVD is induced. And after using triamcinolone to make sure that the stain, the whole amount of the vitreous, the PVD induction is starting just around the base of the disc. So once the PVD is uniformly induced with a circular motion, the vitrectomy is much more easier and it is easy to start. There you have it. Yeah. So after the PVD induction, the complete vitrectomy is done to clear all the vitreous. And you can see that the vitreous hemorrhage is also cleared off completely. It is much more easier. And there are also it's also seen that there are no other breaks or no other holes or no other traction which is there in the periphery of the retina as well. So the whole retina is checked. And then we come anteriorly. Even I would prefer, like how Dr. Kumar said, these cases to put a 3-piece lens for the glued IOL. So using the handshake technique, I make sure that that C7 sign is there, and then holding the tip, the haptic is explanted through the sclerotomy, and we just keep the other optics inside the anterior chamber. I would leave the second haptic outside and ask my assistant to hold the primary haptic. And then when I shift over to the other side, I use the handshake technique, going through the sclerotomy, hold the tip of the haptic. That is the most important, because you hold it in the base, you might cut it into half or bend it. So hold the tip of the haptic, make sure that you stabilize it on the other side, and you'll see that it comes out neatly. So once it comes out, then I'm planning the haptic tuck by the Shearer's pocket, which is done. So I was planning to do the glued IOL method. So then holding the tip of the haptic, we just tuck into the pocket. So the best thing about this is all you have to do is make sure that it is just partial thickness. And once you tuck in, you just have to place it with the glued IOL. There is no sutures which is required. And then finally for the iris, so I wanted to do the single pass 4-through pupilloplasty, the SFT. You use a 10-0 straight needle Prolene suture, holding the iris with your iris holding forceps. And then the other side, the railroad technique, where the other part of the iris, you have the 26 gauge needle, which goes through the iris, and then the needle is passed through the iris. And then once it is brought out, now the main thing is to make a loop. So initially it was a little difficult with the dialer. So I used a micro forceps where the loop will be easily brought out. So this is the most important point. While bringing out the loop, you should make sure that the other part of the suture material doesn't go off inside. The main thing is to make 4 throws with the leading suture material. Why 4 throws? Why not 3 or why not 5? 3, what happens is the knot gets slipped after a while. After a few post-op days, you will find that the knot slips. And when you do around 5 or 6, you do more than that, it prematurely goes and doesn't uh, clamps both the iris together. So that is why we do 4 throws and holding the sutures on either side. You can see slowly the knot actually goes till the end. So this happens only in 4 throws. You can see that the pupil is way much more rounder, and because we then the excess suture material is clipped, the superior, which is looking like an iridectomy, it will be covered by the superior lids. So in the end, we use some amount of fibrin glue to close the conjunctiva, to close the flaps. So basically sutured also the scleral tunnel because we are opening it twice. So even the conjunctiva all throughout is sutured. And the vision from hand movements, which came to us on the first post-operative day itself, we were able to get a good vision of around 660. And the retina was attached. There was no other flesh bleed or any macular pathology which was there. So by the end of 30th post-op day, the vision was improving to 612. So I thank Pooja again, once again, for giving this opportunity, the whole team and AIOS. Thank you.